What's going on, everyone? It is Tuesday night, and you know what that means. Another edition of Wrestling Republic Presents Wrestling Off the Air with me, Shad and Dryzzy. I'm going to introduce my two panelists now that I already introduced them, but let's start with Shad. How'd you like the show today? Before we get into it, just talk about how much fun and how much this felt like a premium live event, honestly, for a Tuesday night show. Not something we saw coming, right?
Let's put some respect on Michael Hickenbottom's name, man. He's fighting for that Booker of the Year spot. That's all I gotta say. I love today's episode, man. It was a PLE on weekly Tuesday night, man, and I'm ready to talk about it.
Absolutely. And then we got out of Louisville, and you don't need to say the state name, and we know that. Our good friend Drizzy, how'd you like the show tonight? Good to see you, my friend.
I am good. I loved the show. This could have been on Peacock. This felt like it gave me takeover vibes. But this was a PLE on network television. I absolutely adored it. There was not a bad match, not a bad moment. Let's get into this.
I'm with you, man. This was a really rock solid 2 hours of pro wrestling, sandwiched in the middle of a lot of news. Right? We're on the heels of SummerSlam, we're on the toes of All In. We're in the middle of the foot on a lot of other things. Wrestling is taking off right this second. Right, lot's going on across the board, and tonight Heatwave stood out. I think for sure it really felt like a PLE premium live event. I'm still getting used to that. It's a pay-per-view. I'm sorry. I'm a
takeover.
90s kid.
Takeover.
Yeah. Takeover. Thank you, Drizzy. And we got a couple comments here from good friend Bobby Petito of the show. Hello. And then more importantly, I liked NXT or Heatwave. So did we, Bobby, no doubt. And thank you for joining us again. Saw you on the daily today. He's been hanging all day.
Bobby, what up, bro?
What's up,
guy,
Bobby?
man.
You're the man. Absolute legend. But let's get into the early stuff in the show. We had Dragunov and Trick Williams. All three of us are huge Trick Williams and Carmelo fans. There's no doubt about that. Dragunov, bell to bell. I mean, we talk about main roster stuff. I don't care what roster Dragunov's on. Bell to bell, who's better, right? Like, I know Brian Cage had the who better. Not many better than Dragunov, bell to bell. I really enjoyed this match. Shot, I'm going to go to you first. How did you like that opener? Do you see the dissension, though, between Hayes and Williams starting to build?
Yeah, well, before I get on to that portion of it, the match itself, great match, man. I can't say it enough. Trick Williams was a person that everyone initially saw as a sidekick, the Robin to Batman, a manager role more than a wrestler, a guy who was very green when he started on NXT television with the charisma. He has slowly but surely put the entire, framework as a superstar together, man. Like, his in-ring ability is way ahead of what it was like a year and a half ago to where it is now. And tonight he definitely, stood his ground. I think he had an incredible dance partner in Ilya Dragunov. I mean, there's not much to say about how great he is. This is a guy who's been in match of the year candidates, with Walter numerous times. And I thought they had a very strong fight. I mean, I think you saw a Trick really, playing that underdog kind of fight back, not giving up, trying to prove himself as a singles competitor within the match and within the psychology and storytelling of it. But you can't, beat someone like Ilya Dragunov. And that's okay. I feel like it's an honorable loss. He stood his ground. Dragunov gets another win. We're slowly building Dragunov back up to, possibly going against Melo and trying to get to that title, as we saw him and Wesley had in their backstage exchange. But yeah, the main thing that we got from the night is we saw that, segment between Trick and Carmelo Hayes, where, Melo, before his match with Wes, is talking to Trick, and, that subtle Trick just, looking at that belt hanging at the locker and just telling himself, like, man, I want that. Like, I want that. And that's his brother. That's one of his, it's his best friend going into it. It doesn't stop him from wanting, to get to that title. And it could be friendly combat between brothers. I don't know how they're going to pitch it, obviously. I think we're a little bit ways away from it. We are going to get to it. And when we get to it, it's going to be one of the better NXT storylines that we have. But overall, as I continue to ramble about it, great opening match, great segment, man. I got all positive things to say about it.
I hear where you're coming from, and honestly, I agree on a lot of that. And we've got a couple more comments from Bobby Petito here that Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes are going on him, as well as that Trick Williams will be a champion in NXT. I'll say this before I toss it over here to Drizzy. He may not be fixing computers, but Trick Williams has IT ed. Like, it's just a fact. He just does. And we may not have anticipated that, but at the end of the day, Trick is as over as anyone, and he's proven that he's willing to go bell to bell with anyone, and he's developed bell to bell. He did not look like a fish out of water tonight against Dragunov, and that in and of itself is impressive. Drizzy, your thoughts on Trick Williams, and are we gearing up for maybe a Trick Williams Carmelo storyline? Which personally,
we are in the middle of a Trick Williams Carmelo story. You're just looking at it from opposite ends. And to piggyback off what you said about him looking like a fish out of water, they threw him into deep waters. They threw him into shallow end with a really good swimmer in Ilya Dragunov, and
shark.
swam. He swam. There was no struggling whatsoever. It's beautiful to see. And I've been watching Trick since the 2.0 started, and it's been a joy to watch him develop, not just on the mic, because he's like he was good on the mic when he got there. He's even better now. He was okay in the ring when he started. He's even better now. Bell to bell, he was great tonight. I love the fact that he was able to stand toe to toe with an accomplished wrestler like Ilya, who probably should be on the main roster by now. But this was a coming out party for Trick. He passed with flying colors. I think we can start giving him letting this boulder that's going down the hill pick up a little bit of steam now. And while we're on the other end of it with Mello, we now have to watch him learn that everybody like the target when you're a champion is big, but when you're walking solo, that target gets bigger because there's nobody watching your back. Mello is on his own journey. They have got to the fork in the road. They're on their own journey and they're going out like this. Mello's on one way, Trick's on the other. Trick has to learn how to swim on his own. Mello has to learn how to swim faster and better. So it's a beautiful story. And I want to say this might be the longest story that NXT has told. Like a lot of their stories take about 1 or 2 months. This might be the one that's they're gonna meet up eventually. But this might be their first attempt at a real long term story, and it looks really good. Only time will tell if it'll be even better.
I couldn't agree more. And what makes it so great to me is it's organic,
Yes.
right? It feels like it's really formed out of actually putting the work in, and not that doesn't happen all the time. It does happen from time to time on various rosters. But Trick Williams was supposed to be the extra piece to Carmelo's gimmick. And he has very much developed his own brand on his own organically and gotten over. And that, right? And like you said, it's one of the longer stories told, but it's really a testament to Trick's hard work over time. Because along the way, the only doubt was ever about what he could do bell to bell, or he's green, or this or that. And he just stood toe to toe with Dragunov and took every single thing he had and made every single thing he had look good. And Dragunov made him look great as well. Talk about one of the best at selling in the business. Dragunov is, you mentioned it, Drizzy, yourself. The should be on the main roster. Yeah. Long ago. Thankfully not. Is where I would say in this spot. Not because Dragunov doesn't deserve the time or the spotlight, but because what he's able to do in helping Trick develop in other wrestlers like Carmelo Hayes and other wrestlers on NXT do on NXT, given the time to have the 15-minute matches, I think I'd be way more disappointed if Dragunov was having 7-minute squeezy matches on Raw or SmackDown as opposed to NXT, right? And that's where I'm like, this is one of those few scenarios and that's no knock on Dragunov as a talent at all.
No.
But thank goodness we get 15 minutes of him on Tuesday night on Heatwave, because it doesn't get a heck of a lot better. And then for Trick Williams to rise to the occasion on the opener of that show, I was blown away. I think no doubt there's a future for main roster, not just Trick, not just Dragunov, but Mello, obviously, but all three rivalry on the main roster in some regard, because it's just high quality wrestling, bell to bell. It's just entertaining to watch. And if Trick Williams has more work against somebody like a Dragunov, who can just make everything look violent offensively and gorgeous defensively, that is where the future's at. That's what pro wrestling should look like. And I loved the match top to bottom. I mean, with that, let's talk about a little bit of let's talk about the Ali encounter with Dom, Shad. You want to talk about the Ali encounter with Dom for us here? I'm going to toss it straight to you. Let's break that one down.
I talked about it last week, and we're week by week, seeing this new character and rendition of Ali. We didn't get to see in a full scope. This was a very short segment, but just the quick wittiness, man, like the rebuttals, like just stuff like that is amazing. I mean, we're seeing Dom and Rhea backstage, and you see Ali basically, kind of being kind of a wise guy, telling them break a leg, and them getting a little bit rallied up, and her telling them, you only got 10 seconds to leave in the rebuttal of 10 seconds, huh? Y'all must be used to that crazy line, man. We're leading to an Ali and Dom feud, and I'm slowly but surely thinking that Ali is going to be the true North American champion. So
I'm with you on that one. I mean, I also think better frog splash than Dom. Honestly, if he cut the sides of his hair, probably better mullet as well. But that's neither here nor there. And we'll get into more stuff involving Dom and Ripley, because by the way, they're the utility players of WWE currently on every show every week. But before we do that, let's talk about Ivy Nile versus Ava Raine. Drizzy, did you see this one? Did you have any thoughts on this one?
I did get to see this one, although it was a very quick match. I believe this is Ava's first singles match on television. She looked really good in the ring. Classic big man stuff. Nothing out of the crazy of anything. Nothing. You can tell she's still learning a little bit. She's still trying to find her pace. She's still trying to not work like The Rock, basically. Because if you know, you know that is The Rock's daughter. She's in a tough place of where she has to figure out what she can do, what she can't do. But a very dominant performance, a very domineering force. You felt her as she did everything she did. Shoulder tackles looked crisp. A nice, a really good slam. It looks good. It Although this match also last minute. I don't think they announced it last week. It was just a last minute thing to kind of motivate a match for next week that we'll talk about a little later. I think it was although she took the loss, a very good singles debut for Ava Rain, a very good win for Ivy Nile.
I'm totally with you on that. I think it was a great debut for Ivy, and yeah, no, absolutely. Like Bobby Petito here in the comments with, it was great to see Ava have first singles match on NXT Heatwave. Totally agree. I think it was an awesome spot. And then Bobby again with, I'd like to see Mustafa Ali win the NXT North American Championship. I think we all would, my friend. I think we all would. But Drizzy, I think you were spot on with that one. And I'm going to actually toss this one right back to you. We had Noam Dar versus Nathan Frazier, a throwback to NXT UK. It's the Heritage Cup. It's, one of my favorite concepts in wrestling. I'm an MMA fan myself, right? That's just a grappling fan in general. I love the idea of a finish not necessarily being the finish. Not to shout out an MMA fight, but one of my favorite one-liners of all time is classically, Chael Sonnen was up 4 rounds to 1 against Anderson Silva in that fight, and then Anderson submitted him and he tapped in the UFC. And Chael said, "No, I was just conceding that round. I didn't realize that was tapping for the whole fight." It just cracks me up, the idea of the rounds actually mattering. It fits that type of aesthetic and concept, and I love everything about it. I think Dar is off the charts. I think Frazier is off the charts, and I think Bate in this particular format is as well. Drizzy, did you just enjoy this as much as I did, or am I off my rocker on this one?
You are not off your rocker. If Mello and Wesley was not happening tonight, this definitely would have been match of the night. Just us talking about it doesn't do any justice. Please go back and watch this match. Noam Dar and Nathan Carter have amazing chemistry in the ring. The things that both are able to do on top of each other, great. The story told in the match, because everybody was worried about Metaphor. They did not get involved as much as you would have thought they did. This whole thing with, and there were so many different pieces actually. So we had Nathan Carter and Tyler Bate come out. Somewhere along the second round, we had Yabba Dabba Doo Kato come out and destroy Tyler Bate yet again. For what reason? We still have no idea why. Oh well, let's get on to it. So we then go to the third round, I believe
Yep.
it's third round, and Noam takes well, he had already had the lead in the second round, but he just played a lot of great defense. And it's also good in these matches that you get to see a thought process. You see a strategy. It was more, if I stay on top of him, he can't pin me.
Yes,
Granted,
sir.
two wins definitely would have put him over to win, but when you have somebody as crafty as Nathan Carter, it's hard to get a hold of him. So the different strategies and everything that happened in this match make it a great watch. It's always a breath of fresh air to see something new after you've had a bunch of traditional matches. Um, it's like I said, us talking about this match doesn't do it any justice. Definitely go back and watch it. These Heritage Cup matches are becoming a great thing for NXT. I hope it's something that just stays with them for as long for now. Just let that be their thing from now on. I know sometimes they play with concepts and get rid of them after a while. this needs to be a staple in NXT forever.
I'm 100% with you. Like, I watched a lot of NXT UK. Shout out to Kobe Gonzowski. He's a huge fan, reviewed the show for years and showed me a lot of Heritage Cup material from back in the day. And I've seen a lot of Nathan Frazier and Tyler Bate and these names, A Kid, in these
Frazier.
type of matches. No, Noam Dar. No, you're fine. Don't worry. Nathan Frazier and Joe Coffey, and it's a concept that is just fun as could be, and really, really, really good for televised wrestling. That's where I think people miss out. This concept with the rounds, it's not like an MMA fight where the round's long enough that it's not adding to the story. This is still pro wrestling.
Mhm.
So between rounds, you're adding to the story. It's a brilliant concept, top to bottom. I truly believe in not, this is a conversation for another time. This is what should have been done with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler at SummerSlam. I think this is how you wrestled that match. And in my eyes, that's not the point. Shad, I got to bring up the next question. Drizzy said it better than I could have ever quantified it in my own words. Yabba Dabba Kato ran in between rounds during a picture-in-picture, and we were on the broadcast watching together. Talk to me about it.
My only grip of this match has to do with the artist formerly known as Commander Aziz, Dabo Kato, man. Like, I know that we got this feud going on that we're building with him and Tyler Bate. Why we're building this as a feud, I don't know. But Shawn Michaels has a vision, so I'll trust his vision. I'm one person that does not like the picture in picture, and I understand the logistics of it. You know, advertisement. You know, they pay for time. You got to get time on the television. That's fine, but it's just the fact that that was the first pin of the match, and it happened so abruptly, and it happened during Dabo Kato just annihilating Tyler Bate on the outside and Noam Dar being able to get the roll-up pin. I thought it was really confusing because for me personally, I'll try to tune into it, but when I got like a Domino's or Pizza Hut commercial talking about their new boneless wings, it's, you know, I'm a big boy. It's hard for me to concentrate. But the match itself was great overall, man. Like, I agree with Drizzy 100%. You know, we're going to get to the main event in a little bit, but if that main event didn't happen, this is probably a strong suit for match of the night on an event that had a bunch of great matches. And Nathan Frazier got some of the coolest moveset as a wrestler out there. That he's so smooth. The transitions are so good. He's able to, you know, do stuff so athletically. And I love Noam Dar, like, just that heel tendencies, man. It's a numbers game. He got the metaphor with him. He got Dabo Kato helping him out for some odd reason, and he's using it to his advantage. That's what a good heel does. And as much as, you know, we love this Heritage Cup, we are getting a world tournament coming up, man. It's going to be an 8-person tournament, and whoever wins that is going to fight Noam Dar at No Mercy. So I think they're doing a great job with it. I like that they're really utilizing this Heritage Cup as like a title in a sense. And I mean, we're going to continuously get banger matches every week while we have this. So, hey, man, I'm all for it.
I'm with you, man. I think Heritage Cup is just an outstanding concept. It's just well thought out, and it makes a ton of sense. And we got a bunch of comments here too, by the way, from Apollo Animations. Yo, I made it. Awesome. Appreciate it. Monster shout out. And then, yo, coach, what's goody from Randy Lewis. Right?
Yes.
We got another one. And then Trick Williams is getting a push, and I'm liking it from Apollo Animations once again.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it myself.
We also got to point out, I don't know, as we were coming back from picture in picture from the first round, that Noam Dar had a little water bottle And it is a Space Jam reference. It said Noam's secret stuff.
I love it. I love it.
You gotta
Noam's
love,
juice.
you gotta love the little things. It's the little things in wrestling to just make
He's
it
got
just,
his juice.
just
Yeah, Noam Dar probably around. He's probably around all our ages, so he knows what's up.
Mike's secret stuff, man. Mike's secret stuff. You know that everyone knows that works. They wouldn't have come back against the Monstars. We've all seen the movie.
Yeah.
If Mike didn't have his secret stuff, and I'm sure Noam Dar couldn't have possibly come from behind.
He got the juice
to have won tonight without the secret stuff. Dryzzy, that is a great call. I mean, the secret stuff is absolutely necessary. It's, dare I say, the key to the entire operation. I'm not totally sure. Let's get into the schism, though. Let's talk about the schism. Oh, yes.
Is blind. Don't flag me, YouTube. It's me singing it.
Good. No, yeah, that is. If we get flagged for karaoke,
I'm messing around.
If we get flagged for karaoke, Shad, that's on me. I'll take the blame. If we get flagged for karaoke, guys, I'll take the blame.
Not YouTube upset with us singing.
No, they love us. I feel like singing is totally acceptable on YouTube.
For sure.
I'm not worried about it. Not the point, but
we say that. We say that now and then. We're going to go back to look at this and like.
As we get flagged on this, we just got to jump in viewership. It's like they listen to it. We said YouTube and we went up 2 viewers. By the way. YouTube. No, we just lost one. Dang it. It's not a contest, guys. Stay on if you're here. But with that, let's talk about the Creed Bros. We're pretty aware, the three of us, we've talked about that's who's hanging out.
It wasn't Omos and Omos's twin brother.
In the schism. No, this was not Omos.
Oh man.
We suggested that before. We thought it might have been. It wasn't. Looks like there's going to be a cage match for reinstatement. Dryzzy, I'm going to toss it to you first, then I'll toss it to you, Shad, next. Dryzzy, who's going to win this cage match? Is there any chance the Creeds are just going to the main roster?
I really thought that the Creeds were going to the main roster. We've been hit with teases of them being backstage at Raw. They haven't been at NXT in weeks. Hint, hint. But I really thought they were going. Or maybe this may very well even be a comeback win just to go. You know, sometimes they do farewell matches in NXT. This might be their send off for real to somewhere else, SmackDown, Raw, wherever they go. I kind of wish the match would have happened tonight in opposed to the Ava Raine Ivy Now match earlier, but the match had to motivate a way to get them to get the match, because if you're thinking logically, what reason do the Dyad have to face the Creeds? They've kidnapped Ava. They want her back. You got your motivation now. So I applaud them for that simple logic in how to move a story. But still, I just kind of wish that it would have happened this week in opposed to happening next week. But you got to have a big match each week of these shows. That's one thing that NXT does. They always have one really good match to make you want to come back next week for more. So good segments. The Dyad, I can't get used to calling them the Dyad. I just can't. I want to call them the grizzled young vets.
I'm with you on that, and I know Shad is too, as far as the grizzled young vets thing is concerned. How do you feel about this Dyad storyline? Do you think it's going to go the same? I mean, they got to end it somewhere, Shad, right? Like
it's been going for a little while. It's been, on and off or whatever. In regards to the Creed Bros, I kind of understand with the idea. So I think them as in-ring competitors are incredible. Like, they're definitely ready for the main roster. And I mean, they're, character kind of being like, the pro like actual like wrestlers could work fine on the main roster. It's just I don't. My fear for them on the main roster is the tag division is a lot of tag teams, and I think they can kind of get lost in the shuffle amongst it in a way with how booking is. It's something that would be a little worrisome, but I also think it could work for them and it could benefit them in a way. And like y'all mentioned earlier, I thought the reason they lost that loser leaves NXT match was a segue for them to leave NXT and go to the main roster. We don't have that happening yet, so we're getting this I guess rubber match between them, and it's going to be in a steel cage. The match is going to be incredible. These two tag teams have great chemistry amongst each other, but I mean, the storyline is whatever to me. It's never really drawn me in 100%. To be real with you, it's not one I'm super invested in. It's just kind of there. And like Drizzy said, I mean, the match itself will probably make me rethink all of what I'm saying now because it'll be great. But, I mean, it's cool, I guess, They were on vacation, and they went to Rome, and they went to, like Japan, all in the manner of snap of a finger, like a PowerPoint presentation. So they doing big things out here, you heard? You're muted, buddy.
You're muted.
I'm muted. And now I'm unmuted. Thank goodness. But I'm totally with you guys. Speaking of, and I could not agree more. I think this is one of those scenarios where just we're waiting on the next step, kind of, right?
Sure.
And once it gets pushed over the edge, it's going to feel better than it did maybe this week or last week. But it's a storyline that's been built over time, and we're good to go on that. With that, let's talk about one that I think almost any other week would have been a main event. And this one's really interesting to me because we really talked about it when we were watching it live. And I'm talking about Dragon Lee and Lyra Valkyria in intergender action. And Shad, I'm going to toss it directly back to you because you suggested something before the show.
Mm-hmm.
You said, I think this intergender thing, given this match, is so good. I might even prefer, as opposed to a secondary women's tag.
Drizzy did say that. I didn't
Drizzy,
say, I'm not
you
saying,
said that? Drizzy,
Drizzy.
Was that Drizzy? I'm going to you. Never mind. Oh my. That is a huge mistake on my part. And either way, I'm sticking with, we're rolling with the punches here.
I don't like plagiarism.
Drizzy, we're going to you.
Credit for it.
I think that, I appreciate it, by the way. You keep me on my toes too. I was on the balls of my feet there for a second, making a mistake. Drizzy. So I loved this match, Dragon Lee, and I love Lyra Valkyria. I think she's awesome. We talked about, I even mentioned, I love the kick pads. I think they look old school and cool as could be on her gear. This was as cool as could be intergender wise. Do you think future main roster intergender tag, do you stick by that one?
I do stick by it. I'm hoping that with the success, the past success of like the mixed match challenge, why not do a intergender tag title? It worked. It seemed this match tonight worked out a whole lot better than just trying to have actual women's titles. You get the ability of having a great team, like dare I say it, the Judgment Day. Rhea and Dom worked great tonight. No, there weren't a bunch of in tandem tag moves, but everything they did complemented each other, even though they're facing like two other people. It's a concept that I think only AAA plays with a lot, and I think it would be a great selling feature for the main roster and maybe even NXT. I'm hoping it's something they continue with. As the match tonight, Lyra looked great against Rhea. They have a chemistry. They have a connection somewhere that I just absolutely love, and everything they did just looked great. Dom Dominic Mysterio has been the workhorse for this past month. He's been on every show for the last 2-3 weeks, maybe. And each time he's in NXT, it's like everything he learns on the main roster, he brings to NXT. And I don't know what it is, but NXT Dom Mysterio actually has a move set, actually looks good in the ring, isn't just getting beat up. Main roster Dominic Mysterio is getting his ass handed to him on a weekly basis. But NXT Dom, I prefer way much more. He looks great in NXT. He just fits. I'm hoping that he I know he probably I don't know if he's too big for NXT, but he definitely has a place there. And I would love to see him stay extended more once this is the feud with him and Dragon Lee and like Lyra Valkyria is over with. I hope to see him stay maybe to the end of the year, maybe. Give him like an extended excursion in NXT. I would enjoy that.
Drizzy, I gotta give you credit here. That is one of the best takes I've heard this entire year on Dom Mysterio, because Dom I've been highly critical of on the main roster, and I don't have a single bad word to say about his work in NXT. Like you could not have been more spot on. And the hardest part is, like you said, there's this juxtaposition of, is he too big for NXT? But if Finn Balor wasn't too big for NXT, right?
Yep, yep.
And if Dolph Ziggler isn't too big, to me, this is the place where we develop Dom for real, because the work he does on NXT is both believable and outstanding. But then I see him on the main roster, and personally, we've seen my reel on him. I've complained about Dom on the main roster notoriously for months now, because it bugs me. It's an Eddie Guerrero knockoff. You can't just cut a mullet and do a frog splash and assume you're over. But that's not what happens on NXT. Bell to bell, he looks outstanding. He looks clean. Bell to bell with anyone. Not only that, he's, like you said, has a move set. Right?
Mhm.
And it's in my eyes, that is, I don't mind Dom being, I'm not saying the face of NXT, but for a time, let's let Dom cook on NXT. Shad, do you have any opinion on that?
I mean, Dom is doing great work on all facets, in my opinion. I do agree with your points on how they're positioning him, and critiques upon his character, and kind of, a lot of that is also within Rey Mysterio too, just playing off of the history with Eddie Guerrero, and obviously it holds more value to it with Dom because we got introduced to Dom in a storyline that dealt with Eddie Guerrero and his father. But I mean, I do feel like there is a different space with him on NXT, because it doesn't. I feel like you don't feel like he's overforced and stuff. I feel like it's more in a playing field where he's with people that are not as, it feels more organic in a way where you're not forcing him in the main event picture with a Cody Rhodes or a Kevin Owens or a Sami Zayn, whoever it may be. He's going against, people like him that are young, up and coming in the business, and it feels more organic. My biggest takeaway of this match doesn't have to do with the men in the match. It does have to do with the two women in this match. And I'll go ahead and say it, and I've been thinking about it because we've got a lot of criticism on Rhea Ripley's title reign after the Charlotte Flair incredible match at Mania's. Rhea's not had a viable feud or opponent. We've had the Natalya feud. We're going into this Raquel feud. I think the most intriguing feud, the best feud that she's had since winning that belt is with Lyra. I think everything built within it is not, obviously, it doesn't get the major TV time that we see it on Raw or SmackDown. It's on NXT, but they've played a storyline where she was kind of telling her, like, hey, kid, you need to, step up and show your worth. And then they have a match. And then, we go back and it's kind of that sink or swim where she basically, had the match with Lyra, a very solid match. And she tells her, like, you did your thing. And you think it's a matter of respect. And you feel like it's kind of a scenario where Lyra could maybe go heel with her and whatnot. But it comes back to this tag match and just the chemistry with these two in the ring tonight. It's overall just a great match, great feud, man. I think Lyra has swam in this entire feud with Rhea. And like we were saying earlier, we ain't going to see her on NXT for very long. She's going to be on that main roster. There's a place for her on the main roster. She's young, but she's got like the in-ring skill set down. She's got the look down, character-wise down. Like, I think she could be a person you could position as a young rising star in the women's division on a Raw or a SmackDown. And, I'm Tiffany Stratton, CEO on a fan club, but Lyra, Tiff, we're going to talk about her shortly. Lyra is a person who I feel is like up there as one of the, out of these crop of young women with like a Roxanne Perez, a Cora Jade, man, you got to put Lyra in that conversation because she had a great match with Tiffany. She had a great match with JC Jane, and she's been mixing it up with Rhea Ripley, man. Put some respect on Lyra Valkyria's name, man.
I'm with you. And speaking of putting respect, I felt like left out on the Jersey Club here. So I just wanted to remind you about February 2nd. That's on me. That's my bad. I guess I got the right Kelsey on my jersey this time.
I got Jalen Hurts.
Jalen's a stud. Don't get me wrong. You guys, 10-point lead at half. You guys should have got us.
We talking NXT, man.
I'm just saying.
It's not first take.
I had to.
We talking about Lyra not being in NXT. We're gonna play some Keith Sweat for her because she's not gonna be there for long.
Oh, I'm so with you on that, Keith Sweat. Like, there is no question that is main roster 101 ticket, right? Like, that's 101 freeway north up the California coast. I'm in SoCal, so it's no-brainer stuff in my eyes, at least. Let's talk Tiffany Stratton though for a second. What's the future on Tiff? Let's hang out here, the three of us, for a sec, and then we'll just kind of toss it around. But like, what is the future on Tiffany? What do you guys think? Like, either Shad or Dryzzy, jump in, like whatever you think.
It's Tiffy time, bro.
Tiffy time.
It's Tiffy time. Look, I said this. I've got a viral clip on our Instagram page about it. Tiffany Stratton has the overall package of just being a superstar in this business. Now we're going to, so this is the one thing I kind of think is lazy booking in a sense, where it always comes back to this promo. Who am I going to go against next? Every woman comes out and they have this big brawl or whatever. I feel like it's a little lazy, but we're building into it. I feel like it's been kind of stop and go with her reign so far, but with that match they set up for next week, we got a Gigi Dolan, we got a Roxanne Perez, we got a Blair Davenport, and we got a Kiana James. All four viable opponents. Obviously, Kiana and Blair are heels, but I think you could put Blair and Tiffany in a feud. That could be fun. But my winner for this match next week, and I know I'm kind of going a little beforehand, I think it's going to be Gigi Dolan. I don't think and I say that to say this. Roxanne or Blair, in my opinion.
Hang on, say that one more time. Gigi Dolan.
Gigi Dolan will win this Fatal 4-Way next week. I say that because I think the end game match for Tiffany to lose the belt would be either Roxanne or Blair. Blair is also heel, so I don't know if they're going to go ahead and do that. I think they're starting to build Gigi Dolan as a super baby face for the women's division. She's a very personable person. We We know her story through PK Priscilla Kelly when she was in the Indies, you know, and she's like one of these people that is very comfortable putting out her entire like life out there. You know, her relationship with her brother. She's a very likable person, and I think they've done a good job lately after breaking up Toxic Attraction, where they're letting her kind of build into this space, and she's gotten a lot more comfortable on the mic. And I think it'd be a good feud. I think both of them can sell a good fight. I don't think Tiffany's gonna lose to her though, but I think it would be a good opportunity to put Gigi in a feud with her, build it up a little bit, help her get her stain up, man. Like I said, I say that before I give it off to y'all.
I really like the pick.
Best
I like the pick.
Best booked women's division after Impact on American soil is NXT.
I actually so agree with you, and we can have this conversation another day because I'm going to toss this to Dryzzy for his pick. I think it's better booked than Impact.
You might be right.
What y'all going to say? Sue me on that one. I think it's booked better than Impact.
I might agree with you.
Like that, boys? Dryzzy, who's winning that 4-way?
So you were saying you don't like when everybody comes out and it's like, I should be the champ. No, I should be the champ. I actually enjoy it because then you finally get an idea of who the top contenders are. Everybody has to then explain why they feel that they should be in that spot. And you can't, and like I said, you get a visual. It's almost like a visual top 5 list, or in this case 4. Yeah, Gigi, Kiana, Roxanne, Blair Davenport. I am going out and saying that Kiana James is going to win this match. And we have seen Gigi go after the belt. We've seen Gigi go after a belt. She's still on her redemption, her finding herself after Toxic Attraction. I don't think this is the match that we do it. If she was, she'd probably lose. If we go Blair Davenport and Roxanne Perez, who have both already had women's title matches in their respective places, we've been there, we've seen that. We have been building Kiana James for a while. From the not Fallon Henry, but the whole thing with uh Brooks and Jensen.
Yes.
That storyline and everything. We need to move her to the next level. And the next level, because she can't, I won't say she was in that same class with Tiffany Stratton. So they mirror each other. They're kind of on a parallel path. So why not? Let's see where they really are now. We already had Thea go against her, who are also in that parallel class. Let's let Kiana be built up. Let's see Kiana in a women's main event. She's not bad in the ring. She has a style that's very in your face, very grimy. That definitely I don't think that Tiffany Stratton can deal with. We might even have a new champion off that.
I love it, and I love the pick, and we've got even more.
Tiffany champ forever, man. Champion forever. Becky Lynch, we coming for you.
We've got Bobby Batista with you guys think Becky Lynch will show up on NXT since Tiffany Stratton mentioned her name. But more importantly, just like Dryzzy, Bobby Batista, I'm picking Kiana James to win. Let's go. And then Fernando Quintero, yes.
Big
yes,
firm,
sir.
what up?
Shout out, my friend.
Man.
Absolutely.
Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton would be fun, though. I'm not going to lie.
But by the way, does that, and I'm not Bruce Buffer, but does that make it's time? 5 rounds in the UFCs.
Time for the main event.
Is it main event time?
Yeah.
Is that? Are we talking main event?
Go. Let's get into it.
Because if we're talking main event, does it get much better than Wesley and Mello? I mean, and Mello, not even to be that guy, Carmelo Hayes. Let's be clear. But I mean, nothing but net. I mean, this is what more could you ask? And I remember it's funny because the 3 of us were obviously watching it pre-show together, right? And we're talking, we're like, oh, it's 8:53, right? For me, it was 6:53. That would make it 9:53, I believe, for you, Shot, and 8:53 for you, Drizzy, or you
No, we're both in the
East?
same time
You
frame.
guys are East as well? Okay,
Yeah.
never mind. So 9:53 both. But I said, my cable says it's going to 08. Pass out. I'm like, man, they got time. And they gave him time. And this was an awesome, fun as could be match. I really, really, really enjoyed this one top to bottom. Like high quality professional wrestling. We talked about this. Feeling like a PLE or a premium live event, right? A pay-per-view, whatever you would like to call it now, a takeover. It's NXT. This was NXT. Shout out Shawn Michaels. Multiple times, one of the three of us throughout watching this main event said, can they just keep wrestling? Like, can we just have Wesley versus Mello over and over and over? Like, that's not a problem. This one delivered, and my favorite part about it is it's not the end. It never felt like the end. It just felt like a chapter of a book. I loved it. I'm going to toss it to you, Drizzy, first. How did you like this match? What do you feel about the future of the NXT World Championship?
So when we get to the future of the NXT World Championship, it is in really good hands. We were kind of got a little shaky when Braun Breaker left that scene to go do things with Baron Corbin and Von Wagner. Mello is the guy to beat. He has this, and this match proved it. He is that guy that you have to be. If you want to be, the bar is up here and he stands on top of that bar doing flips daily. Wesley came to play. There was a Titantron when Mello came out. You see the fire in Wesley, the fire that he had last week. When he double stomped through that table, you felt his passion. You felt that fire. And what did Mello do? He rained all over that fire and put it out. It was a beautiful metaphor for what he wanted to do to Wesley. But I'm not 100% sure that he actually did it. Because as the match went on, after every single crazy move that you could think of that Mello could do to Wes either had a response for it or he was able to withstand it. Went through the table, still trying to figure out how they did that one and nobody break a neck. But it it you could not hold Wesley down. Suicide dive through the ropes, face first into the barricade. He's still in the ring before a 10 count. And there's a beautiful spot. I don't if we can get a picture of it, we'll put it on Wrestling Republic IG. But you see Mello staring a hole in Wesley like, what in the hell is wrong with you? Like, you really want this. Like, you really want this. It is a beautiful moment for what that match. It's just to encapsulate what that match was. It was a Wesley fighting until he could not fight anymore. That's what you want in your world title matches. You want everybody giving everything they have and more for the richest prize in that area.
Drizzy, I'm sitting here with goosebumps. You got to stop it with that stuff. That was too spot on. I'm so with you. Like, that is the coolest part about this match is it's not over. Like you said, Wesley has proven he's willing to walk through anything. He's dealt with the adversity along the way. The story has been properly told on this television show every Tuesday night for weeks on end. And then they have this match, and it's gorgeous. You're absolutely right. It's Pro Wrestling 101. I literally got goosebumps when you were saying it. It's Wesley is not willing to give it up. And while he lost this match, while he lost the battle, he did not lose the war. And this is not over. The table spot you spoke of, that one, how'd they do that? What in the world?
His
You,
neck.
you must be joking. That was Cirque du Soleil. I would be nervous if that happened on the trapeze at the circus. That was outlandish. Whatever happened that allowed both performers to be safe, thank goodness. But also, what a spot. I mean, just absolutely outstanding. I love the match. Shad, I'm going to toss it over to you. How fun was this? Where do we go from here? What do you think the future is for both Wes and Mello?
I mean, it like you guys mentioned, I don't see it being the end of these two gentlemen fighting. I mean, even if you look at it to the end of the match, Wes Lee lost at his own demise in a sense because he went for the spot, took that tough landing. You know, hopefully he's good in regards to that too, but slowly getting back in there, and it just doesn't. You know, he put his entire body on the line for it, and he lost honorably more so for what it is. But it leaves you with that taste where it's like he got to get another opportunity for this match. And I mean, this is the Wes Lee story. You've seen him show, you know, the fight and will slowly but surely like, throughout every adversity to get back and climb back to the top. I think it knocks him down a peg, but I think he's going to slowly fight his way back through it, and he's going to go through whatever competition it may be, whether he has a match with Dragunov, whether he has a match with, you know, Nathan Frazier, whoever the top guy, a Braun Breaker. I feel like he's going to definitely work his way back up to the top of the tone pole and get that rematch with Mello. So I think we're going to, you know, hopefully go with that. In regards to Carmelo Hayes, I mean, we're going to just have to continue and see what's this storyline with him and Trick Williams. I mean, we are a little bit over a month away from, you know, their premium live event, my favorite N64 video game, No Mercy. And I'm very curious. You can pitch it a whole different directions. I mean, even if we can build a way for them two to get a rematch at the PLE would be cool too. But I feel like the one that has to get the belt off of Mello gotta be Wes Lee, man. Like, this guy is the epitome of the underdog story for NXT. He's the most likable babyface you have on the entire roster. Like, even after losing tonight and putting it all on the line, like you feel bad for him. As much as we all love Carmelo Hayes and think he's an incredible, you know, he's, you know, no pun intended, he's him. You gotta just have a sense of, like, you know, empathy for Wes Lee, because this guy, man, he puts it all on the line, man. And I hope we can find a way to get back to these two crossing paths. And I want Wes to get his day to hold that big gold belt.
I'm totally with you. And we got a comment here from Bobby Batito, our good buddy, with Wesley's a great wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't agree more. And like you said, this is the Wes Lee story, but it's also the Carmelo Hayes story. And that's the interesting factor, is given that it's NXT, we've always got that bubbling under the surface. Will they go to the main roster thing?
Mello more
so
so than Wes Lee.
But I'll say this, Wes Lee made me a fan in the last 6 months in a way that, and I was not a fan before. But what Wes Lee has done on his own these last 6 months is nothing short of remarkable. That is, you will never be able to take it away from that dude. What he's accomplished under difficult circumstances, not easy to deal with, given his tag team partner and everything. And say what you will about Nash Carter, whatever. I'm not trying to turn this into a political thing at all. But what Wesley did to turn a situation that could have been detrimental to numerous people's careers, to sit and have a positive attitude and show up to work and be that guy and continue to do this and build what he has built, to show up and have this match tonight, it reminds me of what I saw in the UFC, which is different, but with Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman broke his leg and showed up and he just fought. And while he lost, right, this weekend, the fact that he made the walk was enough. And it's not the exact same with Wesley, but if he can piggyback and capitalize off this, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody change their future, change their stock in professional wrestling by just sticking with it, by just believing in themselves the way that Wesley has. And I've been highly critical of baby faces in both AEW and WWE for a while recently, because I think it's very hard to build someone that you can actually root for. If you don't actually root for Wesley, you're just stupid. And I mean that in all seriousness. Wesley is awesome. Wesley is the dictionary definition of a babyface in every way. He's a class act. He's an amazing bell-to-bell competitor. He's charismatic. And he can roll with the punches. I don't know about you guys, but who else would you rather have on your team than a guy like Wesley? And then the rivalry with Mello, yes, Mello and Trick Williams is absolutely next. We discussed that, the three of us. I think, we've covered today's show pretty well here. I'm looking forward to maybe a three-way. I'm just saying. Little Trick Williams, little Wesley, and little Carmelo Hayes. Right before we see main roster, you guys, maybe?
I don't know about that one. I really don't.
Not yet?
I want to see Mello and Trick get a one-on-one match. I feel like that is a match that has to be built as a singles match. Personally, I feel like it's just the storyline between them two being, a duo, and however you paint it to be. Hopefully it becomes a match of two brothers fighting in it out of honor more than anything. But I would rather that be the singles match. And then, I would like to see the rematch between, it's round 3. In the sense, it's the rubber match. Like, you have one of them, West beat him for the North American. He got him this time around for the this title. Third time, we'll see who wins that. But that's just how I would book it. It could be different.
No, I hear you on that. Yeah, Drizzy, what do you think?
I don't think that Trick is ready yet. Yes, he had a great outing tonight, but he's just at a little jog right now. He's not full-fledged running toward a title yet. I see it more like Trick and Mello, definitely maybe a stand and deliver match. Or if there's a deadline this year, definitely a deadline match. But one of those. Give Trick a few more big matches like what he had tonight. He actually has to get the win, because that was the one thing that we did neglect to say in this tonight, that he had a great showing, but it wasn't a win. You
Absolutely.
You do have to figure out the win. He figured out how to stay in the fight, but now he's got to figure out the win.
We've also got a comment from Sayam Chaudhry. Can't take the title off him. Hunter Hearst Helmsley?
Hunter Helmsley, man.
Am I wrong? It's him.
Him Jericho, you know what I'm saying?
It's him. It's him. I'm just saying. I hear you. No, Drizzy, I think you're spot on there. I think personally, I'm just so impressed by Wesley's growth over the last 18 months. And I really want it to be capitalized upon, because it's one of those things where, like, I've always kind of felt like the way that the Usos have been developed on the main roster, unfairly, we kind of know that they're not going to go over Roman Reigns. Right?
Mark?
Whereas Wesley has gotten himself to a spot where he can overcome any kind of pigeonhole anyone's tried to put him in. Right? Wesley has, I don't think of the Rascals anymore when I think of Wesley.
Yeah, definitely.
I think of him as the best Rascal. Right? I don't think of his tag team work. Not that he wasn't great, but he has gone above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
This is a different animal here, and the guy deserves credit.
Mm-hmm.
I really am just blown away by what he's been able to do. The one thing I will say is, obviously with the Nash Carter and Trey Miguel situation, we see that on Impact every week. That's no knock on them as talents. I'm not trying to say that. The larger point is just I believe Wesley has separated himself from a number of other talents. But with that, guys, I mean, I think that brings us to kind of the end of the show. It's been a fun Wrestling Off the Air Tuesday covering Heatwave here. It's basically a PLE on behalf of myself, Dryzzy, Shad. We will see you guys next Tuesday. It's been a blast. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do. If you're over on Spotify or Twitch, 5-star review really helps us out. We're not Uber drivers, but it's just like Uber, where it really benefits us. So if you could do it, be nice. And with that, we'll let you guys go and talk to you on next Tuesday. Yeah, next Tuesday.